meeting professionals that you work with all the time when you deliver your keynotes and make the arrangements for you to deliver and make a difference. They experience this, I think, at an over-indexed level. They
Yeah.
have many hats that they have to wear. They're stretched thin. It's go, 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 go. And what would you say to them having that very personal relationship with them?
Yeah, and I've spoken to some event planner organizations and associations in the past. So I've lived this and I've had these very personal dialogues. It's the same thing I say to everybody. First of all, there's a reason why my signature keynote is called I Quit So You Don't Have to. Because for a very long time, everybody thought, well, she just left her job. And of course, that's how she eradicated burnout from her life. And nothing could be further from the truth because when you run your own business, you're also at risk of burnout. So, what I do is I talk people through some very simple, tiny steps and empowering choices that we can each make in our lives. And so I frame it as permission. So, to give a little bit of context to this, I say a lot of us are stuck or trapped by the shackles of should. So, well, I should do that because if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. Or I should wait until I get this promotion because that's the only way to move forward. Or I should, I mean, we are shoulding all over ourselves all day long, every day. And to me, the unlock for those shackles of should for each one of us is to learn how to give ourselves permission. And so this really struck me as I was doing the work to say, we're really taught. I mean, remember, think about it. Seth, you and I are pretty much the same age. And I remember in grade school, we had to get permission slips, like to be in the hallway or to leave class early or for whatever. And it had to be signed by a quote unquote authority. We were always taught, like, well, you get permission from other people. It comes from your parent, your elder, your teacher, your authority, whatever. And we weren't taught self permission. So, one of the big pieces that I teach, so to the event planners, to the leaders, to everyone in your audience, is the idea, and I'm holding up a post it note. I love orange, it's my favorite color, but thank you, 3M. I basically talk about writing ourselves permission slips as one very simple way to start. So, this to me is an unlock. It's something I do every single morning. And what I invite you to do is think about what you want to give yourself permission for. The question I ask is, what do I need to give myself permission to do, not do, and or feel in order to show up as my most badass or my most powerful self? Use whatever language resonates with you. And if you want to write one, write one. If you want to write 20, write 20. I always say to anybody I speak to, I'm like, there are days where these are on my bathroom mirror, my refrigerator, and all over my workspace. And there's no shame in that game because it's creating an opportunity for me to check in with myself. And in this hustle and grind culture, we usually don't give ourselves permission to even do that. So if you give yourself 5 minutes in the morning, 5 quiet minutes, check in on what you need. You can do it multiple times a day, but things like choosing pause over push, choosing boundaries over burnout, choosing your values over someone else's validation. There are lots of these kind of choices that I use as examples, but you get to make it whatever you need and whatever you want. And each one of those tiny decisions inevitably unlocks something bigger and leads you to what alive, aligned, and energized success feels like to you.
Yeah, I mean, you're breaking the shackles of should, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And we're so unaware of them. I mean, I think to me that was the biggest aha that I had in my own personal journey is that there were so many should, like that it was the cumulative impact of the shoulds over time that led to me feeling the way I was feeling. And had I had the tools and the awareness to be checking in with myself more regularly, you could argue I might not have gotten to that point. In my
Yeah.
case, it was my journey that unlocked my whole mission in the world. But what I'm trying to help other leaders and event planners and, people like us to do is just to pause and go, it's just a check in on like, is this what I want to do? I mean, I get it. There are things we have to do in life, like our taxes, but there's a lot that we put upon ourselves out of guilt and obligation and people pleasing that we can release. And
Yeah.
so, really cool place to start just to have a dialogue and get to know yourself and take your own little puppy out of the utility closet, right? Nurture your own soul connection.
For sure. Well, you had your play on words shitting all over yourself. You took my thunder. I was gonna walk into that one, but I will say this. Um, you talk about we're asleep to it or it's hidden from our view. And there is a certain casualness of when we talk coming back to burnout and then coming back to your true soul and finding your authentic voice and what works for you. And at the same time, if you have to make the donuts, take the trash out, do your taxes, that those are obligations that correspond to living a life of responsibility, but at the same time not being casual in the areas where you're selling out, you're shooting out and all that kind of stuff. And if you're too casual, you create casualties.
Ooh, oh, that's a good one. Well
Huh?
done, my friend.
Huh?
Words are my love language, man. So, like, I could sit and play that game all day long. I love it. I love it. Well played.
All right, well, one said all. Now we're going to go into a tiebreaker.